Hello people, welcome to Gurukula. I'm Jai and I'm here today with another video to guide you through how can you use ChatGPT for your interview preparations. Yes, ChatGPT can obviously help you to prepare for your interviews. So in this video I will be going to cover this particular topic into 6 sections. So the first section deals with researching the company's data. Second section deals with familiarizing yourself with commonly asked interview questions and how to answer them properly. And the third section deals with creating your own study plan. And the fourth section deals with preparing for aptitude and coding tests. Fifth section deals with engaging yourself in a mock interview along with ChatGPT. And the sixth section deals with tackling tricky questions and learning how to say I don't know in an interview. So these are all the 6 sections or 6 topics that we are going to cover in this entire video. So sit back, relax, and listen. So when it comes to usage of any generative AI like ChatGPT for any purposes, the prompt that you provide is very crucial for obtaining the accurate results from the chat GPT or any generative AI models like chat GPT. So a well-defined and a specific prompt helps the model to understand the context and your desired outcome, which leads to getting the most precise responses. So in this video, let us assume that I am a third year engineering student preparing for an campus recruitment, which is from TCS, and they are trying to recruit the students, especially in the domain IoT, Internet of Things. So first of all, I should make my chat GPT to understand what am I looking for and what type of responses am I expecting from the chat GPT. So in order to make this clear, let us ensure that we are entering the prompt over here in chat GPT like this. So when you look at this particular prompt, you can see that so whatever that you enter over here is what we call it as a prompt, and look at this particular prompt. So here I'm very clear that I am studying in my third year engineering, which says what is my educational qualification and which department am I studying. And so I am from an electronics and communication engineering background, and I am trying to prepare for an interview which I have already specified that the interview is from TCS, and not only that, they are going to recruit me in IoT domain. So these are all the various inputs which I have given to my chat GPT, and let's see what happens if I hit enter. Well, yeah, so chat GPT has given us the responses. So here is the response. So now ChatGPT has understood that I can help you to prepare for your TCS interview in the IoT domain. So now the ChatGPT is very clear that we are looking for the information that is related to interview preparation from TCS, and as well as it is specific to IoT domain. So whatever the questions that we ask from here on, it is going to align the answers towards the TCS interview process and the IoT domain. And here it says that what are all the key areas which I have to prepare. So here we can take a quick notes on it. So I will have to be familiar with IoT basics. I will have to be familiar with networking and communication protocols. I will have to be familiar with the security protocols in IoT, and I should be always be knowing what are all the data analytics that is happening. So I should be familiar with the cloud computing concepts, and I should be familiar with machine learning area, and I should be familiar with what are all the industry standards and protocols that is available, especially in the field of IoT. And I should be ready with some case studies or some projects which I might have done in my graduate studies. And finally, I will have to prepare for the interview. So this is in general context which is given by the chat GPT. And from this, we can understand that what are all the areas that we will have to be learning, or we should, or it is good to have a fundamental knowledge on these particular areas. So now the context is very clear, and now we are good to go with the further steps. So with this further step, what I will do is we will get into the first section of our video. After setting the context, the first section will be researching about the company's data. So why should we research about the company or the company for which we are attending the interview. So researching a company's background is very vital for success in the interview. So it enables you to understand their values, their culture, and goal, which allows you to tailor your approach and showcase alignment towards the interview. So, utilizing the vision and mission statements of the company during an interview can help you to ace it by showcasing your alignment and understanding of their goals. So, you can incorporate these statements in your responses when and where required if you are being asked question on any particular topic. So now, after knowing the importance of researching about the company, now it is very important for us to understand what data should we research on. So that brings us to the another question: what to research about the company? How can we align our answers or responses with respect to the research data that we have? So what are all the data that we have to research on? So the first data that we might be obviously concerned about is the company's culture. If your research says that the company is emphasizing on the collaboration and the teamwork, you can always align your answers by highlighting your experience working efficiently in a teamwork and emphasizing your ability to contribute to a collaborative work culture. The second data that we are going to research is about the recent achievements of the company. So if you have found out that the company has recently launched a new product or achieved a significant milestone, you can align your answers by mentioning your excitement about that particular achievement. And the third point, which we might be interested in researching about the company, is values and mission. If the company's mission statement emphasizes sustainability or social responsibility, you can align your answers by discussing your own commitment to those values and providing examples of how you can contribute to similar initiatives that you have taken in the past. And the last value that you can research is industry trends. If you come across the industry trends or challenges specific to the company's sector, you can align your answers by discussing your awareness of those trends and how you can proactively keep up with the industry developments to stay ahead of the curve. So next we can do what are all the research areas which I can take out of TCS company. So my next prompt will be, so here looking at the next prompt, what I'm asking for is I'm asking for these data. So provide the answer in point form. I'm very specific about my expectation that I'm asking in a point form. I don't want a descriptive answer. So about the company, because since we have already mentioned what company data that we are asking for, it is not necessary for us to mention about the company each and every time we ask a query. So I am asking about the company's culture, which is the first data that I wanted to research. And the second data which I wanted to research is the recent achievements of that particular company. And the third data which I'm asking for is the values and mission. And finally, I'm asking for the industry trends. So these are all the four values or four parameters on which you can able to collect the data for preparing for any interviews. So let's see what ChatGPT has for us. So this is what the data that we have received from the ChatGPT and looking at the company's culture. So first data analyzing the company's culture. So TCS is known for its employee centric culture and focus on learning and development. So you get to know that the TCS is known for its employee centric culture and it always focuses on learning and development. So you can align your answers or you can prepare your resume which emphasizes your ability, which highlights this particular point. Meaning you might have taken some online courses and you might have worked on certain projects, and these two things will highlight your ability of learning and developing yourself. So making or preparing your resume in this particular fashion will always have an upper hand, and that will let the interviewer know that you are aligned close towards the mission and vision statement of the company and you will be the right fit for the company. And here the second culture states that the company always promotes collaborative work, so where you can come up with your answers like I have worked in a team and this is what the role that you have played in the teamwork. And TCS also says that it emphasizes a strong work life balance, and you can always have the answer ready with you, that how will you manage your work and then the personal life, and how do you balance that. So that's the first data that we have researched on. The second data what we have researched over here is recent achievements. So this section will help you to understand what are all the recent achievements that the TCS has secured. So TCS has consistently been ranked one of the top IT services company globally, and this could be the reason why you are excited to join the TCS company. You can align your answers, or you can always say when the question is asked like, why do you want to join TCS? So when the question is like, why do you want to join TCS, you can always say that based on my research, TCS has consistently been ranked on one of the top IT services company, and that makes me to work in the TCS. So if your answer is like this, your interviewer will always understand that you have made an enough research about the company and you are desperate to work for the TCS, and you have already achieved the standards of the TCS. So this will minimize the chances of saying no to your candidature. And looking at the third point, you can always see that what are all the values and mission of the TCS. It says, and this section will allow you to understand what is the mission of that particular company. Here in our example, the mission of TCS. So here is the fourth point which we wanted to understand, that industry trends. So here, by looking at the industry trends, this particular section will help you what are all the various technological areas that the TCS is working on, or the TCS is concentrating on. So here it has given us that TCS is primarily focusing on digital transformation, and it has concentrated on data and then analytics. It has concentrated on cybersecurity, it has concentrated on sustainability, and it has concentrated on remote work and collaboration the post COVID. So these are all the various areas, or these are all the various key domains which TCS is concentrating on. So these are all the technological trends. So in case if you have any project worked on any of this particular domain, then that will be an highlighted area. Even if you do not have any project in this particular domain, if you still have time to face your final interview, you can able to work on some mini projects related to this particular topic. You can always add this data onto your resume, so that you will have an upper hand in the crowd. So these are all the various points which we have to research about the company before we attend any interview. So with this, we will be moving on to our second section of this particular video. The second section of our video will be familiarizing yourself with commonly asked interview questions and how to answer them. While preparing for any interview, it is always better to start with the most frequently asked interview questions of that particular company. So, though each and every interview is unique, getting to know commonly asked interview questions before attending an interview can be highly useful for several reasons. The first one is preparedness. So familiarizing yourself with the common interview question allows you to prepare well-crafted responses in advance. And the second point is confidence. Knowing the commonly asked interview question boosts your confidence during the interview. When you have prepared responses, you feel more ease and you can present it with confidence to an interviewer. And the third one is strategic responses. So understanding common interview questions will help you to anticipate what the interviewer is looking for and enable you to tailor your answers to highlight your relevant skills and experiences and qualities that align with the job recruitment. And the fourth one is time management. Having knowledge of common interview questions helps you to manage your time effectively during the interview. So when it comes to interview, it is very important to know what to say, and the most important is to know what not to say. So this will consume most of your time, and you cannot do all the brain calculations sitting in front of the interviewer, so that your time can be effectively managed when you are preparing for the frequently asked interview questions, and you tailor your answers according to the requirement. So in order to get to know what are all the frequently asked technical questions, I can always ask my chat GPT to give me what are all the questions that will be asked. So when it comes to questions in an interview, there might be three types of question I can expect from an interviewer. So the first type of question which I can expect from any interviewer is the technical question. So which includes all the technical background. And the second type of question what I can expect is behavioral question. So behavioral question, so this question will always test. And the first commonly asked question will be a type of puzzle, or it can be a reasoning type of question. So knowing these are all the three types of question I can expect from any interviewer, now I am good to go with asking what are all the basic questions that I can prepare for in each of this particular section. So now let me enter a prompt that when you look at this particular prompt, I am asking the chat GPT to give me the frequently asked technical questions. So I am creating a filter over here. I am asking my chat GPT only the technical question that is being asked in the interview specific to TCS, and that too in the IoT domain, because that is what the interview which I am preparing for. So when I'm clear with my particular prompt, I'm good to go for asking the questions. So let me see what the responses are. Yes. So here are the 15 questions given by the chat GPT, and you can see that all the questions are aligned towards the IoT domain. So first it starts with what is IoT and how does it work, a very fundamental question which you will have to be very prepared with. And these are all the few questions which you can create it as an guideline, and first you can start preparing with these questions, and later on you can deepen your knowledge into these areas. So this, when you look at this particular question, it always align towards the major areas from IoT domain. So these are all the various questions that you may expect in an TCS interview. And remember, these are only the guidelines, and this is not the exhaustive list of questions which you will get. And we cannot expect that these are all the only questions that an interview might ask. But if you prepare for these particular questions, this will help you to answer most of the questions asked from the interviewer. So this way you can start your preparation for any particular interview. And even if you don't know the answer for this particular question, it's simply just copy the question and give it in the prompt again. So that is going to give you the answer for that particular question. So here I have asked the chat GPT to give me the answer for what is IoT and how does it work. So it gives an descriptive answer of what you can say to an interviewer. So here it has given me what is the expansion of IoT and what is it used for. And here is the working of IoT involves the following key components. It has given us what are all the key components that is involved in IoT. So you can create your own answer and you can present it to your interviewer. And likewise, you can repeat the procedure of copy pasting several questions in the prompt again and again to get answer for that particular question. So this is how you can prepare yourself for the frequently asked technical questions. Now, coming to the second choice of the question, which is behavioral questions. So here is the tricky part. So now I will ask my chat GPT to give me some frequently asked behavioral question which is specific to TCS interview. Now, answering technical question becomes easier when you have a strong foundation on the fundamentals. But answering the behavioral question needs a little bit of effort. So here you can say that here you can see the first question. Describe a challenging project or a task which you have worked in IoT domain where the obstacles and what were the various obstacles and how did you overcome them. So this will be the first question, and this question actually checks your behavioral approach. So what is the problem that you encountered in your previous experience, and what is the methodology that you have implemented to overcome that particular problem? So this here, the interviewer is actually trying to analyze your critical thinking skills and your problem solving ability skills. And you should always keep in mind that you will have to answer this particular behavioral question. You will have to use a method called star method, which means you will have to first say about the situation, and you will have to say about the task, and you will have to say about the action, and further you will have to expand your result in the particular answer. So you will have to structure your response in this particular method. So let's take for an example. Let me copy the first question and I will try to find out the answer. Okay, how should I answer for this particular question? When I put it in the prompt, so when you look at this particular response, you can actually see that the chat GPT has responded us using the star method since it is an behavioral type of question. So this is an sample example. As I've already mentioned that I am in the third year of engineering, it has started answering me with the same thing. So during my third year of engineering, I worked on a challenging project of IoT domain. You might have worked on any particular domain. This is just a reference. So the project involved developing a smart agriculture system and monitoring optimized irrigation and fertilization process. So this is the project which I have worked on. So next I have started mentioning about the obstacles. So what are all the obstacles that we have faced in that particular project and how to overcome this particular project. So here is the methodology that we have conducted to overcome this particular project. And once the problem is identified, next I'm talking about the challenge. What are all the various challenges that we encounter in implementing this particular methodology? And furthermore, integrating different hardware and further response talks about how we exactly arrived at the solution and it talks about the result. So this is the way you have to answer any behavioral type of question that is asked in any interview. So ChatGPT will help you to prepare your answers for any behavioral types of question. So the key takeaway is if it is an behavioral type of question or if you get to know that the interviewer is trying to evaluate your behavioral skills, then your response should be in an star method. And moving on to the third type of question, the third type of question is like the puzzle and then the logical reasoning. So here again I am asking my chat GPT to give me what are all the frequently asked puzzle or logical reasoning questions to prepare. So again, it is going to give me what are all the various puzzles or what are all the various logical reasoning questions that you may expect or you may expect a similar type of questions on your interview as well. Again, we finding out answer for these question is not so tough. You can just copy the question. So you can just copy the question and you can paste it in the prompt section and you can happily find out what will be the answer for this particular question. So these things will give you the answer and how you can answer to that particular question. So by this way, we are coming to the end of our second section of the video. So in the second section of the video, we might have covered what are all the importance of preparing for the frequently asked interview question. And we have seen what are all the three types of question that you may expect in an interview. So you may get a technical question, a behavioral question, and then the logical reasoning question. So you can use the chat GPT to give you a sample questions on each of these sections, and you can always prepare the sample questions that is given by the chat GPT. So with this, we are good to go with the third section of our today's video. The third section deals with creating your own study plan. So having a study plan for an interview is of utmost importance as it ensures focused and efficient preparation leading to higher chance of success. A study plan helps you systematically cover all the necessary topics, relevant materials, and practice essential skills. It allows you to allocate sufficient time for each subject, preventing last minute cramping and reducing the stress. A well structured plan also enables you to track your progress and identify areas that requires more attention. Moreover, it imparts discipline and consistency in your preparation, enhancing your confidence and readiness. Ultimately, a study plan empowers you to showcase your knowledge, skills, and sustainability for the position, giving you a competitive edge in the interview process. So you can always ask the ChatGPT to prepare a study plan for you. So here goes the prompt. When you look at this particular prompt, I'm asking my ChatGPT to give me a study plan. So here I have my TCS interview on 12th July 2023. So by this my model will understand how much time I still have to prepare for this particular interview and it creates the study plan according to the time. And I'm asking my chat GPT to prepare a date wise study plan. So because each and every day I need a study plan until I attend my interview. So for the topics, I have already included what are all the topics which I wanted to prepare in my study plan. Do you remember the first prompt gave us what are all the various areas for which we have to become familiar in the field of IoT. So I have included all the topics whatever been mentioned in the first prompt. So here are the basics of IoT. I need to prepare networking and communication. I need to prepare sensors and actuators, data analytics, cloud computing, security, and so and so. So these are all the various topics which I wanted to prepare. So my chat GPT is going to prepare a study plan for me, keeping these topics in mind and keeping this time in mind. And I'm instructing my chat GPT to prepare a study plan from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So by this prompt, I'm mentioning the chat GPT that I can able to prepare from 9 to 5 in a day. So which includes breakfast, lunch, and all the breaks. So I'm also asking my chat GPT to give the response in table form, so that I don't want to recreate, so that I don't want to put this particular data in separate format. I'm asking my chat GPT to give it in a proper format. So now let's see what chat GPT has for us. So now ChatGPT has started giving me that a day-wise plan for me to prepare the fundamental topics. So look at the first table. This is what you will have to prepare for the day one. So starts from 9 a.m. and it has scheduled my day up to 5 p.m. So it is from 9 to 5, and starting from 9 a.m. I can have a breakfast, and at 9:30 I will have to prepare for basics of IoT, and at 11 a.m. I can start preparing for networking and communication, and at 12:30 I can have my lunch break, and 1:30 p.m. I can prepare for sensors and actuators, and again at 3 o'clock I can have a break, and at 3:15 I can start preparing for data analytics and cloud computing, and at 4:30 I can recap and review whatever that I have studied, and at 5 p.m. it is the end of study time. But it necessarily need not to be the end of study time here. If you are interested and if you are very serious about it, you can extend it always. And on day 2 I will have to prepare for again. So here I have my day 2 plan. So here it has scheduled studying about Python programming language, IoT platform and frameworks, and industry standards and regulation, security and privacy for day 2. And similarly, I have something to study on day 3, day 4, day 5. So here all now the chat GPT has given me a detailed breakup and a detailed study plan which I have to prepare for this particular exam and this particular topic. So you need not necessarily adhere to the same topic. You can always modify it according to your particular needs. So it is always better to modify certain things according to your need rather than creating it from the scratch. So if you have to prepare a study plan for this particular content from the scratch, you will have to end up wasting up 2 to 3 years of your time to prepare the study plan itself, while modifying the study plan will take only up to 20 to 30 minutes of your time. So that is how you can prepare a study plan for your interview preparation processes. So this brings us to the end of the third section of the video, that is creating your own study plan. So in this section we have discussed what is the importance of having a study plan and what are all the benefits that you can reap out if you have a proper and correctly scheduled study plan, and how can you generate your own study plan using ChatGPT in seconds. With this, let us move on to the next section of the video, which is preparing for aptitude and coding skills. The coding skills are the most important skills to ace any technical interviews. Though we could not get the exact question asked in the interview, we can prepare for the most frequently asked question, and which in turn helps us to prepare for solving any sort of programming related questions. So now we can ask the chat GPT for the most frequently asked programming related questions. So what I will do is I will just give the prompt over here like this. So I'm asking my ChatGPT to give me the list of 10 programming questions, sorting them from easy to hard. So here my ChatGPT is going to sort all the 10 questions. I'm asking 10 programming questions. I have quantified how many questions I wanted, and then I am asking my ChatGPT to sort it out from easy to hard so that it will be easy for me to begin with. So here it has given me 10 questions. So you can always start out. So here you can see that it has categorized two questions under easy. It has categorized two questions under medium. So I have four questions under medium, and it is a medium to hard. And finally, this is the hard question. So here you have 10 questions to start off with, where you can soil your hands in solving this particular problem. And this is not the end of this particular section. You can do a little more of interesting thing in this particular section. So preparing for an interview with respect to programming questions is a tedious task, and you can always ask your chat GPT to evaluate your code. So it is easy to create a code, and it is easy to compile it, and it is easy to run a code, but we need some assistance to evaluate your code and to tell you what are all the ways that you can improvise your code. So ChatGPT does this task for you. So let me try to write a program for this particular question. So write a program to find the sum of all elements in an array. So let's take for an example, I have written a Python code to find the sum of all the elements in an array. So once you are done with the code, what you can do is you can always paste your code in the prompt over here. So this is the code that I have written to write some of all these codes, and you can ask your chat GPT to check if this is correct or not. So check whether the code is correct. So I am just typing in, I am just giving you the code, and then I'm asking the chat GPT to check whether the code is right or not. So the code that you have provided is correct and will calculate the sum of elements in the given array. So that is what I have been coding for, and I have achieved this particular result. So now I have chat GPT to evaluate my code, and now chat GPT tells me that whether my code is right or wrong. And you can also ask the chat GPT if there is any other methods where you can optimize your code. So the prompt goes like this: is there any other approach to write the same code with better efficiency? So you can always ask the chat GPT if there is any other approach or if there is any other perspective to write the same code over here. So it has given me some other code. You can copy this particular, in case if you are not familiar with how to identify the differences, so you can always copy this particular code, or even the code is not necessary. You can simply ask the chat GPT like, in what way the second code is efficient than the first code. So it has said that there is no significant difference between the first code. So apologies for the confusion in the previous response. I mistakenly mentioned that the second approach using some function would be more efficient than the first code you provided. The statement was incorrect, and apologize for the confusion caused. It has given me the apologies for creating the wrong information, but still it says that the efficiency of both the approaches is still the same. So meaning that the code what you have created and the code what the chat GPT has given to you has no difference, and that this is the level of analysis. This level of analysis on your code is sufficient enough to ace any technical questions. So this is the way how you can prepare yourself for any interview related to programming questions. And with this, we can move on to the next section of our video. So here the next section of our video is engaging in a mock interview. Mock interviews are vital for interview preparations as they simulate the actual interview experience and help identify our strengths and areas for improvements. So they provide an opportunity to practice answering interview questions, refine responses, and enhance communication skills. So mock interviews will help reduce our anxiety and build confidence for familiarizing candidates with the interview format. So constructive feedback received during the mock interviews will always allow the candidature to fine tune their performance, improve their interview techniques, and increase their chance of success in the real interviews. So we can always ask our chat GPT to conduct a mock interview for us to this particular interview preparation process. So here goes the prompt. So when you look at this particular prompt here, I'm asking my chat GPT, so act like an interviewer. So by saying this, my chat GPT will take the role of interviewer, and I am allowing my chat GPT to ask me 5 questions, and this question is completely free to change. You can ask even 10 questions. You can ask the chat GPT to ask you 10 questions in total, and I've given you the question should come from technical domain, behavioral domain, and programming related questions. So these are all the three types of questions which I will expect in an final and real interview. So that I am asking my chat GPT to give me 5 questions in total, and these 5 questions should be from the technical related question, behavioral type of question, or it may be a programming type of question. So also I am asking my chat GPT to ask one question at a time. So it should not flush all the 5 questions at a time, because I should get the feel of the mock interview. So that I am asking my chat GPT to ask one question at a time, and also I am instructing my chat GPT that after my response proceed for the next question. So once after my response is recorded, it moves on to the next question. And also at the end of all the questions and my answer, give me your section wise feedback. I am asking feedback from the chat GPT itself, which will be the highlight of the mock interview. When you attend any mock interview, the interviewer will give you an personalized feedback depending on your responses. So we are trying to replicate the same type of scenario here in ChatGPT as well. And also, I'm asking the ChatGPT to rate me on a scale of 1 to 10, having 1 as poor and 10 as the best. So let's see what ChatGPT has for us. So here ChatGPT has started his interview. So here, sure, I will ask you 5 questions one at a time covering this particular topics, and after your response, I will move on to the next question. It has agreed to the condition whatever we have said in the previous prompt. So once we finish all the question, I will provide feedback and rate your performance on a scale of 1 to 10. So the ChatGPT has clearly understood what we are expecting and what I am asking the ChatGPT to do so. So here is the first question, which is from the technical domain. So can you explain the concept of encapsulation in object-oriented programming and provide an example? So this is the question, and for which I will try to answer this particular question. So here is my response for the first particular question. I have entered whatever I wanted to say to my interviewer, and I will just hit enter. So here ChatGPT has given me that's a good explanation of encapsulation, and it involves it just summarizes whatever I said in my previous interface, and then it has appreciated me with well done, and then it has shooted out me the second question. So second question is an behavioral domain question. So tell me about a time when you faced a challenging situation while working on a team project, and how did you handle it? So, in order to make it a little bit realistic, let me say that I haven't worked on any realistic project. Let us see what the chat GPT says. And in case if you have an answer for this, you can always type the answer and you can proceed with the second question. So, just for the sake of the video and to see how it rates me on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm giving few questions as like I don't know. I haven't worked in any team project. So let us see what happens with this particular response. That's all right. In that case, you can draw upon any other relevant experiences such as, so it is not moving on to the next question. It is still trying to get answer from me from different experience or different situation. So adapt the scenario accordingly and explain how you handle the challenge. So for this particular, so please provide your response based on any relevant experiences question. And of course, you cannot say this to an interviewer, but still I just wanted to show you how realistic experience that the ChatGPT gives you in the field of mock interview. Yes, so now the ChatGPT have said that okay, absolutely, there is no problem. Let's move on to the next question. So the ChatGPT is still playing a role of an interviewer and it has moved on to the next question. So third question is write a Python function to check if a given string is palindrome or not. So what I will do is I will just give me my code here. So I'll enter my code here to find out whether the string is a palindrome or not, and let me check what the ChatGPT says. So it says that yeah, okay, fine, your code is right. So you can type in your code as it is, and then you can ask your ChatGPT to verify your code is right or wrong. So if the code is right, so since the code is right, it is moved forward for the next question. So the next question is from the technical domain. So in the context of IoT, what are all the advantages and disadvantages of using cloud computing? So uh, for this question, I would like to keep my answer in one word or a very short answer so that I will have to check so that I can check what impression that the interviewer will get. So that's my very short response and it is not even precise. So let us see what impression that it gives. So it says that you are correct. So it is just emphasizing that what exactly it says. So here after giving the responses of the fourth question, ChatGPT have stopped responding so that I have asked the ChatGPT to ask me the next question. So it is continuing the role again. So let's proceed to the next question and now it has continued numbering. So it's the fifth question. So describe this. It is again a behavioral type of question. And for this behavioral type of question, I would like to give an expanded answer. So just I will give my expanded answer in the prompt. So let us say describe a situation when you had to work under a tight deadline and handle multiple competing priorities. How do you prioritize your task and ensure timely completion? What was the outcome? Okay, let me type a sample response for this particular thing and let's see what ChatGPT has for me. So here is what my response which I have given and what are all the steps that I have followed and ChatGPT appreciates me. Yeah, so ChatGPT has now completed the role of the mock interview. So it has appreciated me and it has given its acknowledgement for giving the responses. So your emphasis on communication and collaboration with the team stakeholders is also commendable. So it has appreciated me how efficiently I handled and getting to the feedback. So this is a very important part which we were all interested in. So your explanation was clear and well structured, demonstrating your ability and effectively manage tasks under tight deadlines. And it has also emphasized the important aspects such as task prioritization, time management, communication, and adaptability. And we have also showcased our strong organizational and problem solving skills. And so here ChatGPT has finally rated me on 9 out of 10. So great job on your response. Your approach and understanding of managing competing priorities, tight deadlines are impressive. Keep up the good work. So here ChatGPT has completed asking 5 questions from the domain which we have given for it and it has completed conducting a mock interview for this. So with this, you can modify the prompt according to your requirement, and you can always ask the Chat GPT to be your interviewer, and you can conduct as many mock interviews as possible before you attend a final interview. But please do keep in mind all these things are just for the initial level of preparations, and whereas you will need a real mentor for you to assess your skills because ChatGPT does not understand your facial expression and the tone that you are giving. So facial expression and the tone which you are speaking will be an important parameter, will be evaluated by any real interviewer sitting in front of you. So it is advisable to approach a mentor or your caretaker or your So it is always advisable to approach your mentor to conduct mock interviews for you to get a realistic feedback. So with this, we can moving on to the next question, the last segment of our video. So here we can see that how can we use ChatGPT to answer I don't know. So sometimes in the interview questions, we might not in a position to answer all the questions. So in such areas, we should say we should admit that I don't know the answer for this particular question, but there is a way how to say I don't know. So you can always ask the possible ways or the smartest way to say I don't know. Let's see how ChatGPT helps us to prepare answers, or how it can guide us to say that or to admit that we don't know the answer for that particular question. So here in this particular prompt, you can see that I have asked my ChatGPT to help me that how can I admit I don't know the answer for any question asked in the interview. So it says that it completely okay to admit when you don't know the answer to a question during an interview. Honesty and integrity are also an important qualities. Yeah. So here are the few things which you can here are the few tips on how to handle such situations. You can stay calm and composed. So take a deep breath and remain calm. Remember that it's normal to encounter questions and be honest. So don't try to cook up things over there. The interviewer will easily identify that you are trying to cooking it up. So you don't need to be panicked because it's normal to forget any answer, and it's not possible to recollect all the information or to recollect all the things that we have studied during our interview process. So ask for an clarification. In case if the question is not clear for you, you can always ask for an clarification, or if there is any incontingencies in the question, you can ask for any data to answer your response. So you can always show that your willingness to learn. So time being, you can admit that you don't know the answer for that particular question, but you are curious to learn that particular thing. So this highlights your quality of the constant learning. So you can always redirect the conversation. So if you are comfortable, you can try redirecting the conversation to a topic or area where you have more expertise in a positive way, of course. So with this particular thing, I have asked my chat GPT to give me an example response to imitate this particular situation. So here is the situation. Let's go through this very carefully. So interviewer is asking me, can you explain the intricacies of specific networking protocol? So candidate says that. So here is one way that you can admit that you don't know the answer. So by looking at this, you can say that I appreciate the question, but I must admit that I don't have in-depth knowledge of that specific networking protocol. So which says that you have a sufficient knowledge on networking protocol, but you are not aware of this particular protocol the interviewer is asking for. So that is the way you can put out your answer in front of the interviewer rather than simply saying sorry or I don't know. So while I have a solid understanding of networking principles and protocol, this particular one is not an area I have a direct experience with. So that is a polished way of saying I don't know about about the specific protocol that you are asking for. So you are admitting that you don't know the answer for this specific protocol, but whereas you have a strong foundation on the networking, so it gets equalized. So however, I am always eager to learn and expand my knowledge in different domains. It's given the opportunity, I will be more than willing to dwell in this particular protocol, research it thoroughly, and acquire necessary expertise. So this is how you can respond to a particular question. So look at this particular response and analyze in different perspectives. You will get an idea of how to say I don't know, or how to say or how to admit that you don't know the answer for this particular question. So you can ask the chat GPT for more and more examples, and you can try to come to a solution of how to say that, how to admit that you don't know answer for this, but for that particular question the interviewer has asked for. And please do keep in mind, it is not a smart idea to say a polished answer of not knowing answer for anything that the interviewer has asked. You can apply this technique only genuinely where you do not know the answer for that particular question. So saying I don't know or saying sorry for all the questions will lead you in the rejection of the interviews. So here we came to an end of our video. So here in this particular entire video, we have seen how ChatGPT can help you to prepare for any interview process. So to sum up, we have assumed that I am in third year engineering graduate. I am trying to attend an recruitment process in TCS who is going to recruit students, especially in IoT domain, so that I have set a face of the ChatGPT, and then I have started researching about the company and I have collected necessary data about the company, and these data will certainly help me out to curate or to tailor my answers according to the company's standard or align towards the company's vision and mission. And the second part, we have discussed a lot about familiarizing ourselves with the commonly asked interview question. And when we come to commonly asked interview question, there might be three types of question you may expect in any interview. So one is technical question, another one is behavioral question, and the third one is logical and reasoning question. So we have seen how to collect a basic set of question asked in any interview and how to prepare answers for these three categories of questions. And the third section, we spoke about how to create a complete study plan giving all the topics which you wanted to study, and we have seen that the ChatGPT can able to give us a complete study plan, and you can always modify the study plan as and when required, or you can modify according to your need. In the fourth section of this video, we have always seen how to prepare an aptitude and coding test, and we have emphasized more on the coding test. So you can ask ChatGPT to give you 10 programming set of question, and you can evaluate yourself whether you can able to sort out all the programs or not. And not only solving the problem, you can always ask the chat gpt to evaluate your code, and also you can ask chat gpt to give if there is any other alternative method to approach that particular problem. So the fifth section deals with engaging in a mock interview, which is the primary focus of today's session. We can completely customize, or we can ask the chat gpt to act like an interviewer, and you can conduct as many mock interviews for you by yourself. So based on the mock interviews, you can ask chat gpt to give a feedback as well, and based on the feedback you can improvise the areas where you are falling a little bit back. So finally, you can learn from ChatGPT that how to handle tricky questions and how to admit that you don't know the answer. There is a way for it. So rather than simply saying sorry, or rather than simply saying I don't know, there is a polished way of admitting that you don't know the answer. At the same time, you should also exhibit or express that you are willing to learn this particular concept, or you can able to deviate from that particular topic, and then you can convert the situation into a plus point where you can showcase your expertise. So these are all the various things that you can do with this particular chat gpt, and I hope that this walkthrough video on how chat gpt can help you to prepare your interviews might have helped you. So whatever I have shown in this particular video is just a demonstration. The responses given by the chat gpt may vary to my prompt and to your prompt. It all depends on how you train the model and what you expect and what type of keywords that you use in the prompt. So be accurate as possible, as much as possible to get the accurate results. Be as descriptive as possible to get precise results from the chat gpt. So with this, I'm going to end this video for now, and I'm going to see you in another video. Until then, it's bye from Jai and happy learning.